Hello there, friend. So glad to see you again this week. So, I wanted to chat with you this week about 15 alternative career explorations for educators. So, here's the deal. You know that we just opened Arts Integration Certification Enrollment Period. And we only open it once a year. It's only available through March 15th. And as soon as we open it, we always get a flood of applications that come in. So we're already, it's like hundreds of people have already applied. And the number one question we always get, regardless of how often we offer this program, is there really jobs available for this? And the answer, of course, is yes. We get requests all the time for arts integration specialists that we recommend. There are schools that get funding for arts integration and STEAM. They get Title II funds, they get Title I funds. There's all kinds of ways that schools are implementing arts integration specialists and STEAM specialists in their schools. So yes, there are positions available for people who have these credentials. But when we get those questions, it always leads me and my team to start asking, why is it that educators wonder that? Like, what makes it a question? Is there a real position for this? And I think it's because, and we've kind of gone around and around about this with the team, I think it's because as educators, we have a very specific kind of imagination of what an educator looks like. So here's the thing. No matter what, I am always going to be a teacher. I know that about myself. I've been a teacher since I was 5 years old and could, boss my brother around and play school. I have always been a teacher. It's who I am. It's the fabric of my being. And most likely you're the same way, because educators are a passionate bunch, and we also, we feel that pull. We know that we were born to help others learn information and to use it and apply it and make a difference in the world in that way. But when we become teachers, we get our degree and we have this picture in our mind that we're going to end up in a school, we're going to have a classroom, we might be on a cart or in between schools, but we're working in a school system. And then once we get there, and we start in this road, we might enjoy it for a while, and then we might start wondering, what's next? What else is out there? Or, and this is a sad piece, is there something else out there for me that might be a better fit? I no longer have joy in this position. Or I love what I do as a teacher, but I don't love the bureaucracy or the red tape or the amount of paperwork that I have to do, or all of the other expectations that are flooding me right now, or the lack of parental support, or whatever it is, right? So we are in this position then where we are considering what else could be out there. And so many times educators resign themselves to say, there's nothing else I can do. I have a master's in curriculum, or I have a master's in administration, or I have a bachelor's and I don't have my master's yet, or there's a variety of excuses of what that sounds like in our brains. But we then say to ourselves, I can't do anything else. I'm trained to be a teacher. And so what I want us to consider this week is that there are lots of alternative careers specifically for educators that use the skills that you have that may not be in a classroom setting. So I want you to open yourself up to those possibilities. I've created a list that you can download. Right below, there's a little list that you can pick up, and it has the listing of the 15 alternative career explorations. And so if you're thinking about what's next for me in this upcoming year, and you want to see, is there a career that maybe I hadn't considered before, definitely check out that list. I'm only going to go over a few of them. I'll mention all of them, but I'm only going to go in depth about a few of them just to be careful with our time today. So obviously the first thing I would recommend is looking at either a different grade level or a different content area, because sometimes just getting a different perspective in terms of grade level or content area is going to refresh you as a teacher. This could also look like moving to a different school or a different district, or maybe if you're working in public school, moving to a private school or vice versa. but kind of shifting what you're doing, kind of mixing it up a little bit by giving yourself a different perspective. One of the best things I ever did was go into classroom and teach that way, because it gave me a different perspective from teaching music to teaching a content area. It was a totally different experience. And I know many content areas who have moved into becoming an art teacher or a music teacher or a media specialist that have given them a completely different understanding of what that kind of a role could be. Teachers who taught high school moving down to middle school, or elementary moving to middle, gives you a different outlook. It challenges you in a whole new way, so it feels like you've got that refresh or that reset button. Now, this comes with a caveat. If you're going to switch grade levels or content areas, do be sure, and I know not everybody will agree with this, but it's my perspective that you really need to have a credential in that area in order to do the most effective job. Sometimes I'll see people who will see like a media specialist position open and say, I don't have any experience in that, but that looks great and I love to read, so I want to be a media specialist. And while I love that you want to share your love of reading as a media specialist, there's so much that a media specialist does that we don't see on a daily basis. And so having the professional development, having the learning experiences that is required to become a media specialist, I think is really important. The same could be said for becoming an art teacher or a music teacher. I just always recommend, if that's the route you want to go and you want to try a different content area, be sure to go get the professional development or degree or master's or whatever it is, credential to be the best teacher in that content area possible. Obviously, I'm going to always recommend checking out becoming an arts integration or STEAM specialist, because there are positions available for them and we don't have enough right now. There is a huge gap. Plus, arts integration and STEAM provides a learning experience that is unique and which is very effective for students. And so helping other teachers use that approach and building those kinds of programs in schools, that innovation in schools, is so important. It's critical for our students' success in the 21st century. So if you are interested in those things, definitely check out our certification program, enroll in that, apply, get in there. And I'm not going to be shy about that. I believe in it so much. And if that's something that's on your bucket list, definitely get your butt in there. All right. If you are interested in leadership, you might want to check out administration. And administration doesn't always have to be a principal or an AP role. It could be a coordinator. It could be a curriculum developer at central office. It could be a coach or mentoring new teachers. There are so many different ways that administration looks. Don't get stuck in thinking that it has to be building level or even central office level administration. It could take on a lot of different formats. The question here is, do you like to lead other teachers? And if that's the case, then definitely check out those opportunities. Now, also on our list is a curriculum developer, an online educator in almost any content, and I'm going to dive into that one in just a second. A museum educator, which could also be any other public institution that provides learning experiences for the public. So museums are great with this. Also, symphonies or local arts organizations in general. Zoos often have conservation programs and educational programs. Think large organizations in your community that provide educational outreach. They often have an educator or a curator role that you could dive into. Similarly, hospitals have that as well. Large hospitals also have education outreach programs that are looking for qualified educators to help with that. Blogging or online content providers. So this is where I kind of want to jump in with this online educator in almost any content, kind of combine that with an online content provider. Here's the thing, online education is a booming industry right now. And what's great about that for you as an educator is that people who are doing it are often not trained teachers. So they have content knowledge in something, like for example, law. I know someone who is a lawyer who has an online presence now to help people with their legal issues online. Great, except that no training in teaching at all, right? And so there are things that we know as teachers that are important for learning that often people who are online providers are not doing. And so you will stand out in that industry immediately simply because you are a trained educator. Also, you can take pretty much anything that you know and develop that into an online course, an ebook, an online resource, and share that with the world in a teaching format. And yes, people will pay you for that. So you could do that on your own. You could join in with another organization like Skillshare or lynda.com. There's so many places that you could offer your courses that you don't even have to have your own website. You could do it through somebody else if you wanted. But that's the point. You could teach online, and that would allow you to do it from anywhere at any time. Talk about massive flexibility, right? You could become an education company sales or content developer. So publishers who are looking for people to kind of go out and share their product with schools. Who better to do that than an educator themselves, right? You're selling to schools. Wouldn't it be great to have an educator on board? Most sales companies for publishing companies and organizations that sell products to schools would love to have a teacher who is in there as their sales rep. And if you love a product, it's like, think about this. If you would use it in your own classroom, wouldn't you want to share it with a teacher? Of course you would. It'd be really natural. And so that's often a good fit. I know a lot of teachers who have gone into that and have done really, really well. Corporate trainers, people who teach business executives how to teach their teams. Private tutoring, many of you already do this one. You could become an author. So if you have something that you want to share and instead of putting it online, you do it in a book format, you could do that and then use that as your calling card to become a consultant for individual schools or districts based on what it is that you want to share. You could become a marketing specialist. And I want to dive into this one a little bit because it's kind of like, really? A marketing specialist? Yes. So here's the deal. Most companies now have a social media marketing team or a traditional marketing specialist. And so what these companies are trying to do is educate the public on how their product or service solves a problem. And so what is marketing really? It's teaching. It's teaching and sharing in a really positive way things that are going to make a difference. It's not slimy. It's not the used car salesman thing. It is truly helping others understand how something will help solve their problem. And so who makes a great marketing specialist? Teachers. It's amazing. So definitely start to think about that as an alternative. And then the last one on our list is a community organizer. These folks work with places like the Y or Boys and Girls Club or the local economic development agency in your town and develop community educational outreach programs. So if that's something that's important to you, that you really love to connect with your local community, that could be something you want to enjoy and kind of explore a little bit. All in all, we have this list that you can download. But what's really important here is that I want you to be thinking as we're moving into spring and you're starting to think about next year and what you're going to do. If you are totally joyful about what you're doing right now and you love it, stay with it because that is a rare air that you get to breathe when you are so excited to get up in the morning and you can't wait to get to your job. But if you are frustrated or kind of looking for something different and you don't know what and you feel stuck, I want you to think about these 15 career explorations that are different and how you might even begin to step your toe in there. The last thing I want for you as an educator is for you to feel stuck because you have more in you to give. It's there, it's a seed. You are a teacher through and through. And just because you're not happy now doesn't mean that this isn't right for you. So be sure to keep your mind open. I hope that these ideas have been a little helpful for you. And I hope you have a great week ahead. Thanks so much. I'll see you soon.